Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to the videos. The paid request this time for Edward. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, Edward wanted me to talk about South Park Season 14, Episodes 3 and 4. I would say so far, Season 14's been pretty solid. I mean, you have two more episodes that are pretty good for what they needed to do. Episode 3 was kind of fun. Not kind of, it was fun. Where the plot of the film is Kentucky Fried Chicken has pretty much been outlawed in South Park, as well as the whole state, it seems. Illegal in Colorado. Something about ban fast food in low income areas. And instead, it's been turned into a medical marijuana facility. And of course, Cartman gets pissed because he's very addicted to KFC. And his story kind of becomes Scarface, but instead of cocaine, it's KFC. So I thought that was kind of funny. I do wish they incorporated more of the Scarface, like some of the music, or some have Cartman say some of the lines of dialogue, or even have Cartman start speaking like Tony Montana, just out of the blue. Like the more the more he gets into it, the more he starts talking like Tony Montana for no reason. I think that would have been great to see, but sadly they don't do that. Like they at one point the way Carmen dresses and some of the lines some other characters say is a bit like Scarface, but I wish they would have pushed that more. Like to have the song "Take It to the Limit," or again to have Carmen talk with the accent. I think that would have been great to see, but sadly they don't go that route. But it was nice to see the little correlation they're having between the two. Because he's losing it, and he gets with a guy named Billy. You get the chicken from me, you're hooked for life. He goes with a dealer, and the gravy has been cut wrong, so Carmen pulls a gun on him. It's so ridiculous and silly, but it's pretty entertaining and made sense for the Cartman character. Or he screws over a kid, but does it in a kid way. So in this case, goes, I told your mom you got an F on a social studies test, Billy. You didn't. So it's like something that would relate to little kids, but in this ridiculous fashion. The other piece of the story is Randy, Stan's dad. He loves that there's a medical marijuana facility, but he's healthy, so he purposely gets testicular cancer. At this point, his balls are literally huge. Now the usually I'm like, oh, okay, we're going this route, but I will say the image is funny with having one of those. I forget what it's called. He's pushing this thing in front of him, and he puts his balls in, so he has to go with pushing this thing everywhere. That is a fun visual, and then he starts hopping on them, kind of like what was that toy back in the day where little kids had the little thing that they put under them and they bounce around, and then other people see what Randy's doing and they want weed as well. So you have this a pretty funny image of all of them bouncing along the screen to this very like quirky music. I'm not sure which piece of music it was, like what it's called specifically, but I will say that did give me a chuckle. And I'm usually not the type that gets into, oh, dick and fart jokes. But I will admit, some of the visuals of that was kind of quirky and entertaining. At the end, like, Randy, of course, is trying to play off the fact of when you try to make something illegal, there will always be a black market to it. So, in this case, KFC and other cases, as much as people don't like certain, there'll always be a black market. There'll always be a bootleg market, because when people get the idea of being told you can't have this, they'll go out of their way to do it, in one way or another. So ultimately, KFC is brought back, and the medical marijuana place is gone. So I guess they find a way to fix that. That just fits their testicles. And instead, he makes like a scrotum coat to give to his wife. Just a very random, weird piece of business. So, like, it was fun for how outlandish it was. And, like I said, being a big fan of Scarface with Al Pacino, I like the odes to that. Like, Carbon sees Colonel Sanders, and Colonel Sanders is kind of, don't fuck with me. That's all I asked. Yeah. I just wish they pushed more with it. They pushed even more with the Scarface. Again, use pieces of music from it. Get Carbon to start talking like him. I mean, how do you do a Scarface motif and not have Carbon with a gun saying "Say hello to my little friend"? That seems, maybe they thought that'd be too obvious, so they didn't want to go that route. But it felt like at the end, I'm waiting for that to happen. Cartman in the suit with the gun. That doesn't happen. I'm like, okay. Again, maybe they felt that was too obvious. Maybe they felt that'd be too on the nose. Maybe they felt that'd be too predictable. But that would have been nice to see. That would, again, being a fan of that movie. But overall, it was fairly entertaining episode. Episode 4 I liked a lot more because it deals Facebook. It deals with Facebook. And I guess this is the infancy of Facebook because pretty much the story of this is Stan's down on Facebook, the others are, and they're very gun-ho about it. They're almost addicted to it. Cartman, Kyle, and Kenny are on Facebook, and they love it. Stan doesn't want to be part of it, and he's kind of pushed into it because they make their Facebook profile for him. And it's getting to the whole point where people become addicted to Facebook. And I do like this bit where I read up one of the reasons that I think Trey Parker wanted to do this is because he was having fun with Facebook at first, but then people were mad at him going, well, why didn't you accept me as a friend? How come you haven't commented on my post? How come you haven't liked my post? How come you haven't done this? How come you haven't done that? And it's like, I didn't know it was my job to do that. I didn't know I had to do that. I didn't know, why won't you add me? You didn't respond to my picture. And that is so understandable and relatable. And that's where I guess a lot of the laughs out of it. And I can understand Stan's predicament on that. Like, of course, I mean, you'll do it when you want to, but then if you're busy or something else is going on or you like it but you don't really have anything to say, but then people take it personal when they shouldn't take it personal because there's nothing personal about it and nothing bad is meant for it, but people put that in their own psychosis or whatever oh, you didn't like it? I didn't say that, but you didn't respond to it. Like, I get what it was going for, and I totally get it. And then the subplots are Kyle is losing friends because he decided to befriend and set a friend invite to this very lonely third grader. By apparently because other people see that he befriended this guy, they unfriend him. And Kyle doesn't like that, and he's becoming more sad. And he's almost begging for Stan to be his friend. And I didn't realize that on Facebook you could do the same with a farm. Didn't know about that. And the guy, the friend, is very excited about it, but like Kyle's being distraught, and ultimately he does unfriend the kid, and you feel for the kid, you feel sad for him, but it does work out at the end. While Stan, they do a thing on Tron, which I thought was kind of cool. I thought it was cool that they did a thing on Tron. I try to remember if they referenced Tron before. It seems like they would have, but not to this extent. I would say not to this extent they did. Where Stan is just tired of people forcing him to do this, forcing him to do that. He's like, no, I'm tired of you telling me to poke, grandma and all this stuff. Fuck it, I'm going to delete my Facebook, which a lot of people have done. Or Twitter, it would be now too. But then when he tries, kind of like Tron, he gets pulled into the system where there's profiles and all this other stuff. I do like how the profiles act as, hey, you better friend me. If you friend me, then they almost get like stronger. The lights in between their outfits, how they speak, and the way profiles are. I do this. These are pictures of my dog. These are pictures of my food. All that stuff. This is what I'm eating today. Like, I thought it was a nice take. I thought it was a pretty fun take on Facebook, and fairly truthful, to be honest. So I thought that worked out fairly well. And I like the bit where they're supposed to play a game, but it's Yahtzee. I like Stan going, can't we like go on these on bikes or something? Like, but no, it's the fact that you have to play Yahtzee. I mean, it would have been cool to see what they could do visually with the Tron games, but they want to do something off the beaten path, which I get. And I mean, the whole theme of it is friends should not be used as a status, which I don't think people do as much nowadays. I think that's calmed down a bit. Like, people on Facebook, they're pretty cool with me. I haven't really had much issues with Facebook. But it's one of those that I can see that happen and visualize it and understand it. And I've heard it happen to other people that I know. And so that's why this kind of appealed to me. And I remember back in the day when Facebook was just starting up and you would hear these stories about this stuff. So I thought the whole idea, plus the usage of Tron, was actually one of the better episodes of this season. So far, there really hasn't been an episode that I've hated this season. I definitely think it's been a stronger season than season 13. I thought this episode was a bit witty in its take on Facebook, and like I said, it had a nice little, I don't want to say emotional, but nice little satisfying ending with a kid who's lonely. At one point, Stan had like 845,000 friends, but he deleted his profile, and he's like, I sent those friends to someone else. And the lonely kid gets the over 800,000. So, for a show that usually seems to be against sentimentality, this is a nice little, sentimental moment. The kid is, gets what he wanted at the end of the day. Yeah, a lot of times that's not the case with South Park. So, yeah, that was actually a pretty nice episode. Definitely, I would say so far one of the best episodes of the season. So that was a fun one. Would have been nice to see a bit more of Cartman on Facebook and what he... Well, they do a bit where I think it's Bad Bunny. So they actually do, and it is a funny bit where he, I think it's Mad Money. The guy talking about stocks, he has all these little things that he does to try to keep the stocks, exciting, I guess. And he has like all these devices, so they do a play on that. And Cartman's talking about how, oh, Kyle, he befriended this guy, you need to unfriend him, blah, 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 blah. And Kyle's begging Cartman to help him. And they get on, I forget where they get on, but I forget what site they get on. But apparently it's a site where a lot of people show their dicks. I forget what it was, though. It seemed... I can't remember. But I mean, that joke probably went on a bit too long. Gee, that guy's showing his dick. That guy's showing his dick. That maybe, again, maybe a bit too long, but it's like it was kind of a funny joke, but just it seemed like it went on for minutes on end. But overall, yeah, pretty solid episode. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks for watching Edward, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye.